The graph begins the chapter, but I never bothered explaining it. I just put it there. This is Mother Nature's way of getting women pregnant when they're young. She starts them off here. This is 10 years old. So this is about 11, or yeah, let's call it 11. Estrogen starts building up and it builds way up here. That peaks at 22 years old. That's why I like 22-year-olds the best. The sex drive is the highest right there. It goes on, it drops quickly. There's a 30-year-old, keeps dropping down. 35-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old. I have a headache. Collagen. This stuff right here, the green bar, is what keeps them from wrinkling. And it peaks right there at about 30. And it drops off slowly till she doesn't have any collagen out here at 80, if she's still alive. Quote right under the graph is by Groucho Marx. A man is only as old as the woman he feels. You got that right, Groucho. I'm with you. Why young women? Every male alive needs to grasp this information to understand life, courtship, dating, sex, marriage, divorce, and adultery. This chapter helps those who doubt their sanity for lusting after young women. I doubted my sanity for about 2 seconds. I don't know about you. Most of my women friends and acquaintances claim they can't understand why divorced men only want to date young women. They claim that. Knowing men are drawn by physical attractiveness, they point out in a thinly disguised catty manner, surface appearance is a shallow reason, implying they're attracted to a man by his deeper, more noble qualities. Like Brad Pitt is noble, right? The more feminist they are depends on how quickly they add. Feminine beauty is only a culturally derived aesthetic, a mere definition, artificial, learned, not reflecting reality. Everyone uses it except liberated men. In an attempt to convince me not to waste time with younger women, they begin by being reasonable. A 20-year-old can't possibly appreciate a man. They move up to, a girl just can't relate fully to a man. And finally escalate to, a young woman does not have the experience to satisfy a man. Then, when I'm still not believing, they give me both barrels. It can't lead anywhere. Gee, how nice. They wanted to lead somewhere. Do you suppose they want me to get married again to someone their age? I'll bet they do. But nothing works. Believing their perspective is the only one from which reality can be viewed. They retreat to. We're rational. You're suffering from temporary insanity, acting out middle-aged crazy. Could be right. Here's another perspective, possibly another reality, that of a divorced man. My young lover makes me feel my power and potency again. I now experience the life and pleasure I've earned and deserved but never enjoyed. She appreciates and respects what I've accomplished across the years. When I look in her eyes, I see reflected back the image I want to see, one that corresponds with my self-image. To her, I'm a hero, a success, something my wife never could see. I don't get compared with men my age and found lacking. When she does compare me, it's with millennials and college sophomore that ranks me highest. Whatever I am or want to be is fine with her. No demands to grow up, come home, or go to her mother's. There's no power struggle. To her, men are not the enemy. With her, I can be soft, romantic, giving, and caring. She treasures these qualities in a man. I can talk with her about my second thoughts, even third thoughts about life, children, and career. I don't have to be strong and rational all the time. She doesn't mind if I cry. In fact, she likes it and sees tears as merely human, not a sign of weakness or fallibility. She wants and values her freedom as I do. Someday she wants to find Mr. Right and get married, but for now she's not ready to settle down. She and her compatriots are free spirits still. Two of her better qualities, ones I've never found in any woman. Number one, when I don't feel like going to work, she doesn't panic and worry about money. Two, she doesn't mind if I watch the Raiders on Sunday. Why not a woman 25 to 35? Young women don't ask about my remarriage plans before the salad arrives. Never married women over 25 insist on being serious. Where is this leading? Translation: are we getting married? A divorced woman 25 to 35 is as wonderful as she is rare. 1, if she doesn't look for men in a bar, and if she doesn't have children. 2, if she's not off on a social justice warrior crusade or some liberated binge. It's impossible to find a single woman under 35 who isn't in a bar smoking cigarettes one after the other, looking the males over like she's choosing her evening meal. Most only want uninvolved sex with someone about her age. It's their way of avoiding loneliness without getting hurt again. These dick of the week barflies are big time disease carriers. No thanks. If I do manage to meet a woman in this age range, she's either living with a guy or has 2 kids. The ones with kids lost their zest, lost their idealism, lost their interest in experimenting. They are tired every night. They distrust men. Some hate men and use them without blinking an eye, rationalizing it's getting even for all the suffering those pricks have caused me. With a young woman, the prick didn't send my child support check. Crisis doesn't exist. Neither do babysitting hassles and other endless problems divorced mothers face. I feel sorry for them, yes, but I don't date anyone who has more problems than I have. Why not a woman my age? Do you know how fucking old I am, lady? I'm 80. Can you imagine me with an 80-year-old woman? No fucking thanks. Why not a woman my age? Most are looking for a new husband so they don't have to stay out here in this big, mean, nasty, cold, cruel world and make it. The ones not looking to get married aren't busy losing weight, getting into shape. They're doing social justice warrior stuff or grinding a feminist axe. Stuff what they say about beauty only being skin deep. Fat bellies, sagging tits, stretch marks, and big asses are not attractive. Women my age and yours expect me to be hard, strong, unemotional, and rational, the knight in shining armor. I'm no longer anyone's savior or protector. I don't fix cars, washing machines, televisions, or anything else unless the damsel in distress is under 25. Harsh? Yes, I've learned a harsh way. Relationships with women my age are, totally predictable. I know the role I'm supposed to play. She knows the role I'm supposed to play. Through subtle and sometimes not so subtle manipulation, she prevents me from being anything other than what she wants me to be, expects me to be. I end up relating to her the way I related to my former wife. There's no room for innovation or freedom. No way to stop the same shit from happening. Women over 35 are behavioral clones of my ex and yours, as tired, as jaded, as boring, with the same values. They're from the same era. Great, no expectations. If you want to be who you are now and what you are now, you need someone from a different era. A woman who didn't grow up thinking a man should be Ozzie Nelson or a bumbling TV sitcom idiot. A young woman doesn't know what you're supposed to be. She has no experience with anyone your age. To her, you're an unknown, a mystery, an exciting male. You can paint yourself any way you'd like, different every day. You can be a kite-flying 13-year-old, an 18-year-old cockhound, a daredevil of 27. And it's always okay to be a sensitive human being with feelings, frustrations, desires, and dreams. You don't need shiny armor. My primary qualifications. I'm going to guess it was in the 70s. When a woman news anchor sued a broadcaster claiming she was fired because she wasn't pretty enough or pleasant enough, I predicted she would win, thinking not one of her male bosses had the balls to say he prefers females to be attractive and sweet-tempered. I've still got my balls. Anyone I date must be attractive and sweet-tempered. I'm still able to say that because I have one more requirement. She cannot be a castrating bitch. Since my divorce, only 4 women over 30 had 3 out of 3. I've yet to meet a ball buster under 24. Thanks to strong women, my preference has become immoral because it's anti-egalitarian. Look at stewardesses these days. Eck! As you know, that woman newscaster was paid off in an out-of-court settlement. But the new woman newscaster was far more good looking and younger, way younger. Far more than beauty. If you spent the night with a divorced mother, you'll recognize this morning comment. Shit, it's only Wednesday. When a young woman gets up, she sees a day full of promise. Something wonderful or fun might happen. Young women have far more of the goodness of female and far less of the meanness. They're less angry, less hurt, less burdened, less demanding, less manipulative, more alive, more energetic, more emotional, more spontaneous, more open, and yes, way more attractive. Collagen and estrogen, right? Right. Youth is alive, excited, emotional, full of enthusiasm, energy, and drive. Youth can change the world and your world. Her positive attitude infects you. Optimism and hope casts out your cynicism and feelings of futility. When I finally made love with a young woman 2 long years after getting divorced, I felt whole again, reborn. By touching me and taking me inside, enjoying my thrusting, surrendering to orgasm, she anointed me. No longer a banished leper, an untouchable, unlovable middle-aged man, I was re-accepted into the human race. Our culture values youth. I'm a member of our culture. I value young women, period. The eternal me and maybe you. A few years ago, I discovered the gut level reason I strongly prefer young women. I used to think it was because they are so physically attractive. I used to think it was because they're so much more fun. I used to think it was because I didn't know how to date them when I was young. I used to think it was because they made me feel so masculine, so alive. I used to think my friends might be right about my Peter Pan syndrome, you know, never growing up. The soul search truth has elements of all these and little to do with any of them. When I look in the mirror, I don't see a young man looking back. The guy I see has thinning hair, deep wrinkles, and has to lean away from the mirror to get his image in focus. Yeah, I know that middle-aged guy in the mirror is me, but he doesn't look like the me trapped in this old body. The me inside, the real me, the emotional, spiritual me is 27 years old. And I ask you, what 27-year-old wants to date a 39-year-old divorcee with 3 kids? I want someone who doesn't look and act like she's old enough to be my mother. The me inside wants the same young woman the average 27-year-old wants. Playmates of the month, UCLA cheerleaders, and any girl sitting by the pool in Palm Springs on Easter vacation. As I stated, I discovered all this a few years ago. I had other reasons and still have some. Let me tell you about both as you begin to understand yourself, the next chapter.